Here we are at the B&O Railroad in Baltimore, Maryland. B&O stands for Baltimore and Ohio, being the first railroad system in America, the oldest one, established in 1827. So we're approaching the 200th anniversary in about 3 years. We're currently standing in the Roundhouse section for a collection of a bunch of trains. As you can see, in this circular area is the turntable. We are currently sitting in the Roundhouse. So this is what the clear mechanism looks like. You want to see, and then basically all these track joints will rotate along each section of the Roundhouse. As you can see above the girders, there is each numbered going clockwise, and it looks like each split up into 22 sections. So this is a very nice way of marking through history, starting through the stagecoaches, then going into the steam engines, and eventually going to go mark our way through time into the more modern area, probably around post-World War I or post-World War II era of trains. Section 11 leads outside to the outdoor experience if you want to get a train ride. Right now, it looks like everyone is over there in the train ride because they usually do a ride, not sure how many times a day, but it's almost about past 11:30, so that's where all the kids are, and it's quiet right now. There's a flashing signal right there for more collection of trains outside. Here's a diorama to better explain about the turntable. Built in 1883 or 1884. Again, designed by George Klein in 2001. Here's another one to better explain about the turntable and what the centerpiece was behind the glass. And for reference, it's right here. Each one of the sections basically has a flag on top, with the exception for number 1. This is the rotunda, or the rotation station. You can see that there's basically a gearbox in the center, which basically controls this mechanism. And you see that there's a total from number 1 through 22. Pretty tall as well. I like this nice wooden structure in here. This is a diorama for Baltimore's Howard Street Tunnel and the world's first railroad mainline electrification. Initially in 1895, where the B&O Railroad completed its Howard Street Tunnel between Camden Station and Mount Royal Station in Baltimore, Maryland. You can see that it got into the grades and especially, all that weight and electricity being found out as a new power source. And it's much safer, especially compared to using coal or steam, more reliable too. And this is definitely highlighting for some interesting modern marvels, such as the original New York City subway, the IRT, opening in 1904. So, wow, even the Baltimore Sun definitely highlighted this. So, the entire model was crafted from scratch by B&O Railroad Museum volunteer George Klein in 1998. This car caught my eye. This is called the Royal Blue Day Coach. Initially done in the late 1800s. And it goes through all of the cities listed above. The Royal Blue Line. Washington, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York. This is what the back kind of looks like. And then we're going to take a step on to the planks to see what it looks like on the inside. And I can imagine that this is going to be a pretty fancy one. Here's the logo of it right here. I like the longitudinal seating to fit the width. Kind of have some baskets on top, all made of velvet, and I like the wooden handrails. There's also a chandelier on top. You can see that the ceiling is green. I like a lot of the wood artwork. Looks like there's some screens probably for ventilation as well that they put in there. Flooring looks pretty standard. The wood craft work, fantastic. And I like that there's a lot of windows, and the curtains seem to be high quality. Here's what a view of like the side perspective would look like. We're gonna step foot in this passenger car called the 409 Chesapeake and Ohio. This looks like a very interesting passenger car and one of the very few in the railroad that we can walk through. And it looks like they're highlighting some of the Underground Railroad activity, which basically means that they're helping the African Americans to escape slavery, which was allowed in the southern states of America. Here's how it would evolve into the pre-Civil War travel. And then also the post-Civil War travel. It's very dark lighting in here, but I really like the brown fabric here. And there's a cabinet here, even a toilet over here in the bathroom, a sink. It's really dark in here. There is an audio guide talking about the segregated section which probably is just this area, I guess. So the black African American would be over here, and then the white only would probably be in the back, which there's more room, and then they have a different toilet in the back over there. It's not accessible to walk. Here is talking about passenger car number 35 for Ma and Pa. Ma stands for Maryland, Pa stands for Pennsylvania. Here's an exterior shot of the train, and we'll go back and see what it looks like inside. Here's an exterior shot of the same train, Ma and Pa number 35. Baggage is in the back. This is the mail section. Let's go to the mail section. This looks like a little hand sink over here. Put a sink here and a toilet. The post office is the end of the car. So it's sorted as the train travels between stops. It's been working for the railroad for 48 years, and it was retired in 1954. Wow, look at all the mail baggage right here, all being has to sort out. A light, fan, and some protective netting. Probably room on top for bigger packages or mail. And then they have the calendar date right here. There's a handgun over here, flashlight, coffee mug, or tea mug, the cap. Some of the mail here. Seems to be the power supply that is connecting to this headlamp over here. Not allowed anyone to be here unless authorized. Let's go into the baggage section in the front. Wow, this is the schedule from the timetable, specifically from 1925. Look like it's getting all these cities. Let's see what it looks like from a sideways perspective. It's sort of like this. Here's the text over here. Window seems to be protected by a metal bar. That's the American Radiator Company. That's how they generate heat. How do you get to the front of the car? Well, it's access through doors. And probably through the section of it. This seems to be the power broker over here. Talk about it. Ooh, there's some old text right here. When steam powers trains 1, 7, 6, 12, place of motor cars, battery switch left open, lights and locomotive notice to engineer, and governed accordingly. From 1933. Okay. Another compartment section over here. Ma and Pa Railroad, riding the Milky Way. Northern Maryland and Southern Pennsylvania formed in 1901. This is the baggage section over here. Carry milk, mail, newspaper packages, freight, you know. Ooh, cool to see a mail catcher arm, because they would normally hang up mail on side of the poles and then you would be able to grab it. For car number 48, here it is, taken in 1927 in Hallithorpe, Maryland. Got some lighting in here. Here's what the interior of the car would look like. Looks kind of busy in here according to how it was drawn. USPS or USMRP. PO. Take care of the mail. I think this is a sink over here, but it looks like the faucet portion broke off. And that's the exit of the car. This is the final locomotive in the Roundhouse that you could walk in here, and it has number 1. Number 1 is nicknamed the Clutchfield. Originally built in 1882 as number 423 by the Columbus, Chicago, Indiana Central Railway in Logansport, Indiana. And that's the route of the Clutchfield Railroad, going into Kentucky, Virginia, Tennessee, and North Carolina. One of the longest steam locomotives in the U.S. Steam 4, 6, and 0, 10-wheeler. So this seems to be the front of the car right here. You can see the backlight right there. And it looks like you can operate the car as well.
Wait a second, Alex. You gotta get on this one. Okay, man.
You can even try to drive the train. I'm not even sure if this will work. It'll take a lot of skill probably to operate this thing. Speed gauge right here. It's all steam power. So one of these is going to be the accelerator, and then one of these is probably going to be the brake. Air brake section right here, pressure.
But don't go in there. I'm going there.
Not sure what these dials are for. That's cool. There is a section to sit here, I guess. And it looks like you can't really get a good view of seeing the front of it at all. There's also an emergency valve on this. This is the right side of an exterior shot. Most of the trains have the big bells over here. Able to see. Probably a lever here to release a lot of the steam, I can imagine. Cool mechanism. Here we are located in the north car shop of the museum. We're going to be focusing on this train, the 1604. And this is a very long train to get a huge engine. But as you can figure, for a train shop car, this is probably where they think about more of the repair work to see. And what I really like is that I tried to do it for car number 1 in the Roundhouse, and I didn't know what I was doing earlier, but now Here's basically a cool model to see where everything's labeled, how these old engines used to work. So it says in this message right here, "Dear future engineers, feel free to touch and play, but remember this locomotive exhibit needs to survive to see another day. And it's currently under active surveillance." So I like to see like what they labeled here. So it looks like they have 2 sets of stuff. This seems to be the brakeman seat in the back. And here's actually information about car number 1604, backhead and cab rehabilitation project. So back here we have the water hose on this thing. Probably used to be labeled here. Unfortunately, it seems to have worn off, but I think this is probably the motorman seat or the train operator, because here we can see that there is a reverse lever. Most likely if the train wants to go backwards. A lever for C, RW. The throttle is on top, so that makes the train go. We have the water column to help for the steam. And these are appropriately labeled right here. A lot of the heaters and movement for water and for jet. A lot of the steam valves, to see how much steam is here. Water glass, stroker jets. There's like 7 sections of them. Not sure what this is, but it had a label on it. Firebox interior and stroker distributor. And here's more of it in the backside, would look like this rotating piston. But I like what they did here. Let's see the extent of the car. Wow, 25,000 gallons of water, which is 25 tons of coal it also has. That's a really big train. This is train model 1604, Allegheny. Named Allegheny for the West Virginia mountains they climb, pulling heavy coal trains at 15 miles per hour. And given the size of that train, it's pretty big. They're capable of reaching speeds of 70 miles per hour. And this train actually was survived from one of 2 being scrapped. This is a cool photo to advertise during World War II to show American power and industry. I can agree with that. Most powerful American steam locomotive type ever built. Built in 1941. C&O Railway Steam. Chesapeake and Ohio Railway. These 2 trains on the other side of the 604, which is right here on my left, look really nice. I really like the colors on this 7100, although it looks like it has some rust and a little bit of some dirt. Maybe it probably just needs to do a cleaning job. But the paint job on the 51 looks really nice. I like that they refurbished it, rehabilitated it. It's really nice. Baltimore and Ohio reads. If I can get a view of the passenger cars right here, can't really see it. And there's no way to get on higher elevation. This is cool, there's a side door right here. It's like this navy blue and combined with some black and some yellow. There's a Domino Sugar one at Federal Hill Park near the downtown metro area, Baltimore, which is east of us. Domino Sugar does have a big plant, so it's cool to see that they do have one of their own trains here. This is the back of the 7100. Let's go through both of them. 7100 seems to be formed by Mark, and you can't really see the what's inside. It doesn't look like that's a passenger car. Here's some information about the 51. Built in 1937. Made by General Motors Electric, also known as GM. Has been restored in January 2021. Wasn't too off. Still looks really good after 3 years. This is a very nice diorama outside to show the model of trains. And it's again made by George M. Klein. The G scale layout. This looks like the outside to the fair to go outside for the indoor train experience. This is the train station for Mount Clair, where they house the Roundhouse. This is the cafe station right there. So when representing train models made to scale, there is a specific lettering system. So here's all of the available lettering systems right here. Let's start from the largest to the smallest. The largest here is G, which is 1 to 25. O from 1 to 48. S is 1 to 64, H is 1 to 87, then followed by N, 1 over to 160, and the Z is 1 to 220. These all basically show the same train models. Here is the 1 to 25. And let's compare it to the super tiny one right here. It's located in the Bank of America Gallery in the train scale model. The HO scale model train layout, which is 1 to 87. To represent Baltimore in 1997, so 27 years ago. Here is Pimlico, which is the home of the Preakness Stakes. The Preakness Stakes actually took place about a week ago. And here's what it looks like. One of 3 in the Triple Crown races. First being the Kentucky Derby, and then the last one being the Belmont Stakes. The Belmont Stakes this time, because the UBS Arena is under construction for a few years, it's going to take place in Saratoga Springs, which is a little bit north of Albany. Yeah, so given the name Belmont Stakes, not going to take place at Belmont Park near UBS Arena. Looks like there's a Penn Station in Baltimore as well. This is the Belvedere Hotel. This tall building is called the Bank of America building. Bromo Seltzer Tower. And ooh, we got the Oriole Park from Camden Yards. So this is a better view of what the field would look like. Let's see if there's any other highlights on this side. Baltimore suburbs. Cathedral of Mary Our Queen. That's one of the Catholic churches, I believe. And then we got the Preakness Stakes. Pimlico race. Originally built in 1870, and this is to depict the 1997 Preakness Stakes. There's an Amtrak train right there. Beautiful model here. Here's another section of Baltimore 1997, the train model. Once again, we've got the Orioles Stadium at Camden Yards. And this seems to be the B&O Railroad warehouse. And then looks like there's a station at Camden Yards near the Inner Harbor, as you can see right here. Interesting ship model right here. This could be the USS Constitution that we saw on a trip from the Federal Hill. And this is called the Baltimore World Trade Center. Oh, and this was probably to depict the aquarium, National Aquarium. In fact, we'll go to the National Aquarium on one of the days on the trip as well. But this is a very cool model to depict it. I mean, it looks like you can do whatever you want. You can be on some of those pedal boats, as what's over here. Like a little dolphin or shark over here, and even a speedboat. Nowadays, you probably could possibly see even a jet ski as well, even paragliding or sail paragliding as well. Interesting exhibit here in the B&O Railroad Museum is a room full of clocks. Now, one of the reasons why we need to understand about this is the idea about time zones. In America, we have 4 time zones within the contiguous United States, excluding Hawaii and Alaska, and they are Pacific, Mountain, Central, and Eastern Time. So here's currently the time in Baltimore, Maryland, as of recording this video, 1:42 p.m. on Saturday, May 25th, 2024, and it's about 71 degrees Fahrenheit. This looks to be like an atomic clock. I've seen these before. So very easy for us because Baltimore's on the east side. It's currently on the Eastern Time zone. Central Time is 1 hour behind, so that's 12:42 p.m., followed by Mountain Time Zone, which is like Denver, Colorado, which is 11:42 a.m., and then Pacific Time Zone, which is like California, is 10:42 a.m. So precision timekeeping was definitely important, and that's why they need to get a lot of clocks, watches, standard clocks, and office, yard, and station clocks. Looks like there's a lot of the grandfather clocks right here. We got one of ours in our house. And here's a model of the pocket watches right here. So you can thank the railroad system to standardize time, because this was definitely one of the first transportation methods to travel really fast. Originally, it was first the trains that made it to vehicles that were able to help surpass normal travel speeds much significantly faster than like a sailboat or even a steamboat. Then we eventually got cars and airplanes that could just travel through any time zones very quickly. So originally the time was initially created to help keep for travelers to be very consistent and to prevent railroad accidents. So originally this was adopted in 1883 to develop something called RST, Railroad Standard Time. And it led to many towns, police departments, fire departments, and business to adopt the new system. And because it got, many Americans were pretty pleased about that, eventually they adopted it to standard time in America, which was enacted in March 19th, 1918, when Congress enacted the Standard Time Act. And this graphic right here can show the divisions of the current time zones, the 4 of them right here. And probably the railroads or maybe state lines does have to probably play a role in the borders right now. So this is probably what it does. And yeah, a major portion of the time zones that we fall into, at least for us, when we're recording this video, is Eastern, and Central does have a very big one. You can even see Central entirely has the entire border of Texas right there.